Good afternoon, this is Ron Brown. It is Friday afternoon, the 8th of April 2022. I'm doing this report with about an hour and 20 minutes left in the market week. I am doing these on Friday afternoons rather than having to spend my Saturdays or Sunday mornings doing them. It's just easier for me, and I don't think we miss much in the last hour and a half, although markets can change very quickly. Anyway, that's beside the point. There's plenty to see right now, and I'm going to cover some things here. This is my standard disclaimer that I've been posting every week, and just remember that all trading strategies are used at your own risk. I suggest things, I show you what I'm doing, but when you make a trade, of course, it's always at your own risk. Okay, now let's go ahead and get started. This is Thinkorswim. I have the NASDAQ composite up here. I put out a morning report today, or a slide, saying that the comp held the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement coming off the low. Here's the low to the high. Here's the 38.2 line. It slipped below that this morning, and it's in the lower end of its trading range, trading at 24.9% of its daily range. If it continues, it could certainly get down to this 50% retracement, and if it goes beyond that, it's really going to be hard to recover. What we were looking for early, or what I was looking for earlier in the week, we came off of this right side of the W, pulled down here to a low, and then this went up. It looked like this could have been a higher low right at the 23.6 line, and I was hoping that we would blow through this to establish higher high, but instead it gapped down, and now it's established a higher, a lower high compared to this high, and now a lower low at yesterday's low. So we're going in the wrong direction. Plus, this gap has to be filled if we're going to see a rally to the upside. So let's take a look here at where the strength has been, and to do that, I'm going into HGSI, into my major markets ETFs, and I'm transferring them to a warehouse view. It's my scorecard ETFs intraday, and you can see what's happening here. Gasoline's up 3.11% today. Gold is up. The short 20-year ETFs are up again as interest rates rise. If I bring the ranking module into play, this shows the change from last Friday's close until right now when I'm doing this. And you can see that the short 20-year treasuries are up over 6% just this week. So as interest rates rise, the short treasury ETF, the TBF, moves up. And you can see it's had a really strong move, well, from this point right here, 16.9 to over 18, well, around 1875. Let's just stick with the ranking module here. You can see the positive ETFs and then the negative. And if I go clear down to the other end, you can see how poorly the ARK funds are doing. You know, they're the high-tech ETFs, and they're just getting slaughtered. And the market vector Semiconductor ETF is really taking a hit too. I'll bring it up over here in the chart, and you can see what's happened to this. Semis were really strong coming off the bottom, but they've given up most of their gains. This is not a market to be in tech stocks. No question about it. You can see the Russell has done poorly, the ETF, the past week. Here's another Russell ETF. The Qs, which are a proxy for the NASDAQ 100, down 3.384%. I want to point out that the spiders, or the S&P 500, is doing a lot better, only down 1% from last Friday's close. But anything here in the bottom, you can see that it's really been a tough week for these ETFs. Now, if you just look at this, the ranking and the ETFs here, you'd be very discouraged. But you just have to look for strength in a rotten market. And I've come up with some scans. I did a video this morning on them, and I want to. It's all new. I just came up with the idea this week. But we spend so much time looking for stocks, I thought I would try to shorten that process. So I'm going to go to my top-down or my daily prospecting scans and go to my intraday scans, and then I'm going to go into the designer and go into my new groups. Now in the video, which I'll send a link to, also I posted it this morning, but in case you haven't seen it, I want you to go through it. These are what I'm calling my instant watch list stocks. These are from last night. These are strong stocks with the fan up, and these are strong stocks with the fan up with a short-term pullback. These are identical filters, except I'm limiting these stocks to $75 or less on these two. Now the instant watch list, I ran this watch list, or I updated these smart groups around 9:30 this morning after the market was open, about an hour, and I want to show you what's going on with these right now. I'm going to click through to my intraday scorecard, and remember this is the end of day instant watch list from last night or from yesterday, and you can see that several of these stocks are up today in a weak market, and the ones that are down are not down very much. Prudhoe Bay Royalty Trust was one of these strong stocks. If I look here, there really is no information because it's a trust. It's not really a stock, but it is coming up, and it's come up in scans for weeks. You can see that it pulled back here and took off, but it's in my strong stock list. Let's look at Cardinal Health. Move this up here so it doesn't get in the way of the chart. Cardinal Health was last night. It had an effort to rise yesterday, and it followed through today. LPL Financial Holdings, effort to rise following through today. Zeta Global Holdings, effort to rise, holding on. SNY, effort to rise, and moving up. Now these are extended, of course, but you'll be able to find some good straight, tight charts like this one right here, which came up yesterday, and using my combo, it would have come up the day before too, because I'm using the Wyckoff field, as you can see right here, and everything was green the prior day too. So these are stocks, or many of these stocks are stocks that are extremely strong, that are continuing to go. You can see some beautiful charts in here. You get the idea. Now let's go down to the next group. These are stocks that are in a fan uptrend, but they pulled back a little bit yesterday, and you can tell that by looking at these Wyckoff. Well, not all of them, but some of them have red and yellow in these columns under volume, spread, and close. But let's just look at these. Look at these. Most of these are up today, and you can see the pullback and the follow through. Pullback, follow through today. Pullback, follow through today. This is a good scan. These are both good scans. And I'm doing this on a weak market day. Just remember that. Okay, I don't want to belabor the point, but they're working. Now, These two are the same thing, except it's limited to stocks $75 and under. These are the very strong stocks with a fan up, and these are the pullback stocks. Now there's one here which had a bad news event, and I can't remember what it was, but it dropped way down, but you can see buyers are starting to come back in. But these are stocks that have pulled back nicely. I happen to own this one. I bought it on this day here, and it's trying to break past resistance. Now these were the end of day scans. Now I'm going to go to the intraday watch lists, and I ran this, like I said, about an hour after the market opened. I haven't run it again because I just wanted to see how these would do. And these all came up this morning, 16 of them. And here's a beautiful chart. It's made a gain of 6% today. It gapped up a little bit, but kept going. It's heading towards resistance, but it's really nice and tight here. A couple of pocket pivots on this chart. Transglobe Energy. Here's a low volume test, a confirmation of that test today, moving up 4.8%. Centennial Resource Development. This was a white candle yesterday, so it came up, and you can see that it's breaking past resistance, short-term resistance here, up 5.74%. Cardinal Health, effort to rise yesterday, follow through today. Now these, like I said, I ran this intraday. Let's go to the next list, which is intraday with a fan up, but with a pullback. So these stocks all had a pullback, and I ran the scan same time. Here was the pullback, and it came up, and you can see that it's had a nice gain of 5.63%. Occidental Petroleum, up 6.80%. Could have bought it at the open and had a nice gain on this one. Here's that stock that I own. Here's OIS, up 5.51% after the pullback. EOG Resources, here's the pullback. Here is a follow through today. And out of this list, which was positive earlier, there are only two stocks down. Let's take a look at this. You can see that it was, it gapped down. It was still a pullback. It never did go up. But these others have all moved up. And look at the intraday range right now on these. I'm doing this with exactly 1 hour to go in the market day. Okay, now I'm going to drop down here to, I'm just going to do the pullback stocks, $75 or below. A lot of the same stocks, of course. Occidental Petroleum, Halliburton. I've shown you many of these. My point is that I think these groups are going to work for you very well, or for us very well, if you don't want to spend a lot of time prospecting. The scans are really built upon my undercut and rally filters, where if a bullish VPA flag or a bullish candle appear, these stocks will appear in the list. And then I added some other parameters too. But I'm very happy with what I see so far, so I urge you to give them a try next week. If you like what I'm doing with these scans, I will certainly try to think of more and add more. And I limited it to 16 stocks, and I showed this in the other video, and I did that because I can bring them right into Thinkorswim and paste them into the charts, and it's all pretty automatic to paste them in once you get them in the watch list. You can watch the other video to see how I did this. I'm not going to take the time to repeat it, but you can get them in here, and then you can maximize the sell, and then you can just flip through them and see which stocks are continuing to go today. These are daily charts, but you can do 5-minute charts, whatever you want to. I just happen to like to look at the daily charts and then go into Thinkorswim, or remain in Thinkorswim, just go to a different layout to show shorter time frames, and just flip through these. Simple enough. And there's a stock that was down. But all of these others are up for the day. I think there was one other that was flat. But I think it's a really good, easy process, and it should save us all a lot of time. Even though the market is extremely weak, you can see that by using these scans that it's not that difficult to locate winning stocks in a weak market if you have the right software and use the right scanning techniques. I just want to go back to this once more and just look at these stocks. This is the intraday watch list. By running these scans, you can see immediately where the strength is and in what groups. Okay, let's go up here and look at this one. Lots of exploration and production stocks. This is intraday. Let's look at last night. Agricultural chemicals, exploration and production, healthcare, and so on. Many of these stocks are carrying through today to the upside, as you can see. But by running the intraday scans, you can get a feel for what's happening today. If you run it early in the morning, let the market settle down a little bit, and then run them, I'm sure you can find some decent candidates for purchase.